Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Tribute Talk Faux Real. My name is Greg Thompson. I'm your host, and I'm also producer of the Sunburst Convention of Celebrity Impersonators. And my special guest today is the lovely Miss Carla DelVillaggio, who performs as Barbra Streisand. Hello, Carla.
Hello, Greg. How's it going?
It's going well, and I hope you're doing well. Carla, everybody has recently had back surgery. So how are you coming along?
I'm coming along much better than I thought I would be by now. So that's, that's great. I also am reminded, though, that I'm not 20 anymore.
Yeah.
So things are a little slower.
Yeah, I understand that, and I haven't even had back surgery.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a rude awakening at some point.
Sometimes it is.
Right.
Well, we're going to talk about
Grateful.
your career as a celebrity tribute artist. And I want to go back a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about your earlier years as an entertainer. So you started out on stage as a kid. Is that right?
Yeah, just did the high school and elementary school shows and that kind of thing. Yeah, I loved it.
And then you went on to college. And is that where you got interested in opera?
It was. I went to Seminole. Well, it's Seminole State now, but it was Seminole Community College when I was there. But then when I went to UCF, some friends encouraged me to audition for the opera chorus. The Orlando Opera had a chorus. So I did that, and I just never looked back. I just completely fell in love with the whole theatrical aspect of it and just the beauty of the music and all that kind of stuff. So that's what sealed it. And I decided I wanted to study opera.
Do you know how many shows you've done? How many are they called opera shows or just operas you've done?
Them opera shows.
Them opera shows.
No, they're just operas. Gosh, I haven't ever counted, so I don't know, but it's been a good handful of them, I'm sure.
Good handful of them.
Yeah.
Well, when I was coming up in high school and theater and such, my brother wanted me to take voice from a particular friend of mine. And he said, if you take voice from her, you will be able to sing anything from country to opera. And he said, and that's where you want to be. And I'm like, boy, that's a stretch there.
That's a bit of a stretch. Yeah. I think that would be great if you could.
Yeah, but that never happened.
Yeah. Well, you found your niche. It's okay.
I found my niche, and that it's not singing at all, really. Except,
Sure.
I tell people I'm an actor. I act like I can sing. So
Yeah, that's it.
Now, tell me this. We're going to talk a little bit about opera. That's a whole different world. Somebody just can't say, well, I'm a singer, and now, there's an opera, so I'm going to go audition for it. You need to know what you're doing there, right?
Absolutely. I think it's kind of too bad currently because people will see someone on TV singing in a classical style and they immediately say, "Oh, that person's an opera singer." No, they're not necessarily.
It may sound like opera to them, but it's not. Really.
Yeah, because it has that quality of a classical quality to it. And they're the kids that are singing. That's a whole other conversation we could have. There's no such thing as a child opera singer.
Yeah.
It is it's very demanding. It's very demanding. If you think about it, opera singers are singing on stage, sometimes with hundreds of people around them, with an orchestra in the pit with no microphones. It's just strictly the power of their voices.
That's some powerful singing there.
That is a little bit, yeah. So that's where all the training comes in, and they don't do those microphone things. But so you're right. It absolutely is it's a whole other animal, really.
Now, how long have you been? Because this is usually a misconception in the tribute world, is that a lot of people think that you are a huge fan of this particular celebrity, so then you try to become them and emulate them. And your story is not exactly that, but you were a fan of Barbra Streisand. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Forever. For as long as I can remember. huge fan. And I would, and of course it's long ago, but whenever she would change hairstyles, I would change hairstyles, like she had the curly perm. I got the curly perm. Yeah, I've always been a huge fan.
Now, were you compared to her back then with looks minus the nose?
Oh, with the nose. Yeah. Yeah, I was told back in the day that I had a resemblance to her, and which didn't bother me in the least. I thought that was wonderful. So yeah, so kind of, I guess that's always been there, but it certainly never occurred to me to take it.
She's a singer, and you're a singer, and she's an actress, and you're an actress.
It's true. And she has blue eyes, and I don't know.
She's what?
She has blue eyes, and I have blue eyes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. We're going to move up to, so you've done plenty of operas, and a lot of people may remember or may not remember, there was a show in downtown Orlando called Shakespeare's
Tavern. Yeah.
Shakespeare's Tavern, and you performed in Shakespeare's Tavern.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Which was the early days of basically dinner shows in Orlando. Is that correct?
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, it was right on Church Street. Trying to think what side of the street it was on. I don't recall now. But,
did you actually do Shakespeare plays, or was it just the atmosphere?
It was the atmosphere, though we the singers sang like Elizabethan songs of the style, the style and the era of that of Shakespeare and all that. And it was a big feast dinner thing where, long tables, I know very well, sort of that madrigal sort of feeling. And I've told my students just thousands of times over the years that I really think that having that experience is what's made me so comfortable on stage, because I had to sing like right up in somebody's face, when they were eating, of course. But it was that wandering through the audience kind of thing. And that made me, I think, really comfortable with it.
I can completely understand that. You learn a lot in that type of performing, and you learn what to do and you learn what not to do.
It's true.
Now, you have been a teacher for many years now. How long have you been teaching, if you don't mind me asking? Or if you'd rather not say, that's okay.
I started when I was 5. No, I've been at Valencia 15 years now, which I can't really get my mind around.
Wow. So you started your tribute career and teaching about the same time. About the same time,
yeah. I started fall of 2004 at Valencia, and then 2005 I went to the Sunburst convention for the first time.
Sunburst convention. I remember it well.
So it was kind of, yes, I do too.
Well, I'm going to back up just a little bit. Right before that, tell everybody how you were going to local cabarets where pianos were, and you would sing Barbra songs, and what developed from there, and then you heard about the Sunburst convention.
Well, yeah, actually, my other half likes to take credit for all of this, or the blame, whichever you want to look at it. But he, when we met, he used to go and sing karaoke, like karaoke bars, which I had never done, believe it or not. So we would go, and the only thing I could think of to sing were Streisand tunes because I knew them well enough, and it was that sort of thing where people would keep saying, well, does anybody ever tell you kind of look like her, that the thing that tribute artists get. And I was like, well, yeah, I've been told I look like her. But that was it. I certainly wasn't trying to sound like her. And Paul at some point heard cha-ching somehow back of his head, like, So that was sort of the start of it. He kept saying, I really think you could do this. And I said, there's nobody that sounds like Barbra Streisand. She is who she is, And then I think it had to have been a little over a year that he was trying to get me to come to Sunburst. So I was like kicking and screaming. This is a ridiculous thing to do.
Well, I'm going to share this. I'm going to share this.
I knew you would.
When Carla was first contemplating going to the Sunburst convention, I got a lovely email from a young lady who said that she was interested in attending, that she might perhaps be a Barbra Streisand impersonator. And then I got another email and another email and another email.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, this lady is really on the fence, and I understand, there's an investment in there. Now, I didn't know that you were really just starting out. I thought you were a Barbra Streisand impersonator, and you were deciding whether or not you should go to the convention. And at one point, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I got another email from this lady." So at one point, I finally said, "Well, if you're not ready, then don't come." And you were like, "Oh no, I'm coming."
Right. Don't tell me. Don't tell me not to come.
Yeah, and the next thing I knew, there was a registration in, and she was on her way, and that was 15 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so I'm sure you were like, just do, what do they say? Do something or get off the pot, make a decision.
That's because as we get closer to the convention, as you know, I get a little more tensed up. I'm like, oh, either come or don't. So
I know. Now in retrospect, I know what a pain in the butt I was.
No, you weren't a pain in the butt. I was just like, oh, it's one of those things. I don't text and email well. I'm like, call me and I'll answer the questions, and
right.
But
I know that now.
And then Carla, over the years, she's become a very dear friend to us, her and Paul, and loved your dad so much, and he was such a big fan of yours. Came to the Sunburst convention, God rest his soul. So it's been a blessing for us. And when Carla comes to the convention, I'm sure I've told you this before, but I always get the biggest kick because we have a lot of people who come and watch the showcases, and they come year after year after year. And I see people in the audience, and I hear them when you come out on stage, the elbows start going like this. There she is. There she is. There she is.
Oh, that's lovely.
So where was your first gig as Barbra Streisand?
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember?
Yes, I actually do. And I can't remember what I had for breakfast, but yes, I actually do remember this. Just because of the things that happened. It was in Fort Myers at a retirement community. Can't think of the name of it at this moment. I'm sure Paul knows. And I was, of course, just terrified because, I had notes all over the place, exactly what I was going to say. It was long before I was comfortable ad-libbing. And the one thing that stands out is that, sometimes I'll call somebody from the audience to sing You Don't Bring Me Flowers, the duet, and Neil Diamond duet. And we had an older gentleman who actually had a nice voice, who offered to come up on stage. And as Paul likes to tell it, the guy was singing and he kept like doing something with his mouth, like something a little weird, So after the show was over, he came up and apologized because he said he had just gotten his new dentures and they were falling out.
That's great.
I'm glad you left him in, at least for the duration of the song. Oh,
well, you have really taken that act and come a long way with it, and you're constantly improving it and going, oh, I want to try this and I want to try that. But I will say this, that there are not a lot of entertainers, much less tribute artists, who can get up on stage and carry an audience for an hour and a half or even 2 hours, and they stay and they pay attention and they enjoy it. And Carla, you're one of them. And so whenever somebody says, do you have a one-person act? I go, yes, if that's what your budget allows.
Right.
And I've got somebody who's going to keep your audience. But you have at least three different versions of your show.
Several different. Yeah, you're right.
Go ahead and explain those.
Well, the first thing I put together was which is actually my favorite show, is I called it Then and Now. So the first half of it, I would dress as Barbra in the 1960s, again, my favorite era of hers, and sing all the earlier songs. And then I change costumes and come back in the second act, looking more like she looks today, or more so probably in the 80s. I don't look like she does today, but and then I have a holiday show, which I'm revamping a bit because it's sometimes it goes over really, really well, and sometimes it just depends on the audience you're playing to. But it's the holiday songs that she has recorded plus a bunch of her big hits. I do just a regular sort of mishmash of her hits. I did some in New York. I did 3 different shows in New York quite a few years ago. And one of them was devoted more to her 70s and 80s music, which was a lot of fun.
Well,
so
you have a combo that backs you up. You do a track show. You also have a full band / orchestra, but there's no strings. I understand.
Right. You're right. Yeah, we can do everything from track show to at this point now a 65-piece orchestra, which is kind of cool.
That's
but
really cool.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. But the 8-piece band and 5-piece band are really some of the best musicians in the state. I mean, just they played with everybody, actually really famous people, real celebrities.
Real celebrities. Well,
yes.
I'm going to bring this up because you performed in a club up north where, help me out with this, was Barbra the first act that performed in that club?
No, it wasn't. She wasn't the first act, but it was where she presumably made her professional
debut. I knew there was a debut somewhere in there, so it was her.
Yes, yeah. It was at the time she was there. It was called the Bonsoir, and it was that was a real highlight for me, and it was actually pretty early on in my doing all this. But yeah, I was asked to come up and reopen the club under a different name, and as far as I was told, there's never been any other tribute artists that had played there. So to sing in the same room that she sang in when she was just a kid, and that was pretty exciting.
I bet it was. Now you've also had. I'm going to take a bet. I'm going to take a chance here, and I'm going to bet that Barbra probably knows who you are because you've had some of her relatives to attend your show.
Yeah, I have. I'm super fortunate that they kind of stumbled on me, I think. But yeah, from what I understand, she knows I exist. So, yay. And I became really good friends. I'm still friends with one of her cousins, actually 2 of her cousins. And I was friends with her aunt, who passed away a couple of years ago at the age of 104.
Wow.
So that's good for Barbra.
Yeah.
Good genes.
There's good genes, yeah.
And just the sweetest, lovely, lovely people. So, so I imagine she at least knows I'm around. And
I would think so.
Cease and desist yet. So it's and I've had so many people say, "Has she ever seen you? Does she come to your show?" No, she's never come to a show.
Well, one of the best compliments there could be, if you ask me, is if her relatives come and they thought that you were not that good, you would not know that they were in there. They would have left without letting you know that they were there.
I suppose I hadn't really thought about that, but that's true. Yeah.
They're not going to come up and go, "Hi, I'm related to Barbra. You stink." They're not going to do that.
Yeah, they'll just be peace out. Yeah, that's true. So I guess I did okay.
Well, with
pleasure.
me, everything comes back to the Sunburst Convention. So I'm going to go back to the Sunburst Convention 2005. Did you have any expectations? What were you thinking when you came in?
What was I thinking? That's good. What was I thinking? I was so freaked out about the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah, I was so nervous, and having come from opera, and that I don't know, that part of the world. I knew that I didn't want to put something out there that was not good, and I didn't think it was good. So I didn't think I was ready. And I think I've told you this before, that I remember vividly standing backstage with the microphone, in my hand shaking, which it still does, by the way, thinking, what the blank am I doing here? And then somebody called my name, and I was out. And I have since, not recently, but I've since listened to, or watched a video from them, and from then I'm like, what? what was that? But the best thing, of course, was really had nothing to do with the performance. It was, meeting you guys, getting to know you guys, meeting so many other wonderful performers, and just lovely people, people who need people. Sorry.
Gotta throw it in there.
Yeah. So that, was that it became the experience, and not just the performance. So I thank you for that, really.
So was last year, this would be your 15th year?
Yeah, I guess so, right.
This is 15. Gosh. I think you probably get an award for that.
Oh, I think
another award.
I'll have to make some room.
I was saying earlier that Carla, you and Betty Atchison, I think you might have one more than Betty, but the two of you have just
we cleaned up.
Yeah, you cleaned up with the awards at the Sunburst convention.
Well, I don't know about that, but it's
you're in the Hall of Fame a few times.
3 times.
3 times? Oh, there you go.
But but who's counting?
Who's counting? You could go for 4. Hey,
I suppose
maybe Party Animal, something like that.
I was just gonna say, the one I will never win is Party Animal. So, I'm just too boring until Saturday.
I wouldn't say boring. You're very careful about your instrument, which is your voice.
It's true.
And you say, the last night, that's a whole different story. But the first couple of nights, I'm going to lay low for a little bit.
That's right. Yeah. Then the tequila can come out and we can celebrate.
There you go. There you go. Well, your show is very fun and enjoyable. And it's not just, and I say Barbara, because when you come out, a lot of people do shows in third person. You do yours in first person, which is my favorite, because people forget that they're watching an impersonator and they're watching Barbara. And I think that is awesome.
It's and it's I can't imagine doing it any other way, but that's just me. And it's so much more fun. I also think, I guess, my acting background helps with that. Not everybody has had that.
You really add bells and whistles in there. You have a scene on the video screen where you bring in, it's actually a Judy Garland impersonator, but a lot of people don't know that. They think that it's actually that you got this footage somehow.
I know, of her speaking to Barbara. Yeah.
Yes. And then I already know the answer to this, but do people come up to you after the show and talk to you, even though they know they're coming to see Carla DelVillaggio as Barbra Streisand? Do they come up and talk to you as if you are Barbara?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And or they'll say, because I always say something about her age being my age. I just turned 78. Like, oh my God, you don't look 78. It's no, Barbara, not me. So they kind of bought into it, which is good.
That's good. Do they ever say stuff like, "Oh, I saw you here," or "I loved you when you were in the movie," and that type of thing?
Yeah, and usually quite elderly people. So bless their hearts. But
bless her, you just go along with them and say, "Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it."
Exactly. I take it as a compliment, honestly.
Absolutely. And one of my things, there's another gentleman by the name of Greg Thompson, who is a producer of entertainment, and I've been mistaken for him several times because people don't know what he looks like, and they're like, "Oh," one lady in particular, she said, "Are you the Greg Thompson who put the show on in Atlantic City?" And I said, "No, that wasn't me." She said, "Yes, it was." And I said, no, no, ma'am, and that wasn't me. She goes, yes, it was. And I said, no, it wasn't me. She goes, oh, I know it was. I said, did you enjoy the show? She said, yes. I said, good.
Then it was me.
No, I just let her go.
Oh,
Just
that's
let
so
her go.
funny. Yep.
Well, what if you're always working on your show? Have you got any new bells or whistles you're working on right now that you can share with us?
Well, it's with everything that's going on right now, it feels like everything is just grinded to a halt.
It has.
And I'm certainly listening and concerned about how how live performance is going to move forward. And I like to go out in the audience, so I guess that won't be happening anymore. No more singing in people's faces. So the only thing I can say is that I certainly am always looking at new music, and either to get new tracks or to get new charts done for the band, to keep
So
that.
there's always something to work on. I'm putting this out into the universe, and your show would be perfect for something like this. I am hoping that this will maybe instigate the comeback of the supper show, the supper clubs.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful because there is social distancing. You get your own table.
Mm-hmm.
You're not right on top of somebody. You're not sitting elbow to elbow.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, with the Sunburst convention this year, the showcase will be that atmosphere. I'm putting all 4 tops in there. There's not going to be theater seating anymore for this year. And the tables will be spread apart, and everybody gets their own table. We're not going to have as many people in the audience, but it will have that supper club feel to it. But I would like to see that come back. And like I said, your show is perfect for that situation.
Yeah, I think so too. Now that you mentioned that, that would be great if that becomes sort of the thing to do. I mean, it's gonna be bad for the large venues.
It is
until there's a vaccine or something, and then hopefully things will normalize to some degree. But yeah, in the meantime, it would be lovely.
I would love that. And I'll be honest with you personally, I would be more than happy to pay more for a ticket, because they're going to need to charge more because you can't seat as many people. But I would be happy to pay more for a ticket to dress up and go sit at a table with my wife and enjoy a show at a table. That would be really nice.
Yeah, it can be very elegant and very, I don't know, like a fancy night out.
On one hand, I feel like it could be a fancy night out. On one hand, I feel like I was born 20 years too late because I missed out on those things. And the other thing, I feel like I was born 20 years too early because I love technology and doing stuff like this so much.
Oh, yeah. And well, knowing I'm sure you're going to figure out some way of getting all that together.
And in the meantime, I'll drive my wife crazy doing it.
And, and that's why you guys have been together for all this years.
Now, oh gosh, I had a question. It popped right out of my head just like that. I forgot what it was. Oh, I want to know, can you tell everybody how they can get in touch with you?
Sure. Yes, I have both an agent-friendly website and a not agent-friendly website, a regular website. And there are ways to contact me on both of those. The agent-friendly website is just simplystreisand.net. And the other one is Carla is simplystreisand.net.
Streisand is S-T-R-E-I.
And then S-A-N.
Yes.
Streisand, like sand on the beach, is what she says.
There you go.
That's right. I'm on Facebook. I have several pages on Facebook. And what else? What else did I say?
Is there any place you will not perform as far as location wise?
Any place where there's smoking, I won't do that.
Yep.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't think.
But if somebody calls you from Seattle, you're going, right?
Oh, sure. Oh, locate. Yeah, I thought you meant like a specific kind of venue. Yeah, I can travel pretty much everywhere. I have a passport that's updated.
Well, I'm gonna start to wrap things up, but I'm gonna tell you one of the things that Your show is so enjoyable, and whenever you're putting the show together, a lot of entertainers think about what they would like to do on stage, and it seems like whenever you create your show, you're definitely have the audience's experience in mind with that.
I certainly try to. I think that's, I mentioned a little bit earlier about ad-libbing. I think, and you can tell me if I'm right. But I think that's one of the things that maybe makes my show a little unique is that I really do try to make it a personal experience. So I love to talk to the audience, and if somebody shouts something out, unless it's something I don't want to hear, like I didn't pay $6 to hear you talk. I heard that one.
Yeah.
That was once.
You should have come back with, you only paid $6?
I know. Right. Give that man his money back.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, and if I'm in a community situation, I try to get names of people that I can do little interactions with and try to make it as personal as I can. So, but I love that part of it. I mean,
I do too. And
yeah,
as
music
a performer,
is. Oh yeah.
I enjoy seeing you interact, and some of the best moments are those surprise moments, those ad-lib moments that someone does say something to you in the audience, and you can relate back. Sometimes they're surprised you talk back to them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. When especially, I don't know if it's because it's Streisand, but sometimes it takes them a while to understand that they can talk, and I'll have to tell them, you can
It's okay.
respond. Yes, right. As long as you're polite. No, you can, we can talk back
That's
and
what
forth.
I tell people. I go, this isn't television, folks. I can
Right.
see you.
Yeah. We can schmooze on stage.
Yeah. How many times have you seen Barbara perform live?
Oh my goodness. I have now seen her 5 times, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure I could have bought a car or 2 with the money I spent. But I wouldn't have traded that experience for the world. It was absolutely amazing.
Do you plan on seeing her again?
If she decides to do another tour, which I kind of doubt, I would definitely try to do it. I mean, last time she just turned 78. Last time I saw her she was 76, and
she could still do it.
Singing, yeah, still singing. Like in some cases, it's just still that the beauty of her voice is completely timeless. It's just still has the breath control, and she doesn't sing all the high notes the way she did, but
none of us do.
Right, exactly. And frankly, I could care less.
Yeah.
She's still one of the best communicators in terms of artists that I've ever watched. I think just you feel like she's singing right to you, even in Madison Square Garden.
That is tremendous. Now, this all of this will pass, I believe, and I know that you've missed at least. Well, if you're like any of the rest of us, you're probably missing out about 4 months worth of work so far.
Oh, easy, yeah, easy.
Yeah.
And it was, and as you know, it was coming into everybody's busy season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
February.
I was coming in there, and that was to get me through the summer. So in the meantime, I'm sponging off my wife.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's the money you look forward to like that'll get me through the summer, and then we start again in the fall. But the last gig I did was actually up in upstate New York for the opera company that I used to be part of.
Kidding.
Yeah, so I did a benefit for them, which was just so much fun.
I bet.
At least I ended on a high note. But after that, it was one cancellation after another.
Well, it'll all come back, and we are moving forward with the Sunburst convention, because I hope that things will have that curve will have flattened quite a bit by then, and we're all going to need to get together and see each other. And
right.
Whether we do air hugs or sit at, opposite ends of the table, I think we need to see each other. But thank you for joining me on this today. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks for asking me. It's been so long since I've seen your face, except on Facebook.
every day.
Every day. That's true. That's true.
That's
But
true.
not like direct you and me, having
Yeah.
a conversation. But thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, you are welcome, and we look forward to seeing you and Paul again real soon. And once again, everybody, if you want to get in touch with Carla, you can get in touch with her at Carla as simplystreisand.net.
Carla is Simply Streisand.
Carla is. Okay, my bad.
It's okay.
My bad.
So sorry. How long did it take you to learn how to spell my name? So it's okay.
I know. And I still don't know if there's a dash between Del and Villaggio or not.
No,
See, and I already did it. I did it. Look at the scrolling at the bottom.
That's all right. At least all the letters are there. That's,
At least all the letters are there. I do know enough of that. I got 2 L's and 2 G's.
That's
I knew that.
in the right places.
Well, anyway, Carla, if you'll hang around just a second, I'll be back with you and
Sure.
Tell everybody bye.
Bye. Take care, everybody. Please be safe.
All right. Thank you. All right, everybody. This has been Tribute Talk Full Reel with my special guest today, Carla DelVillaggio as Barbra Streisand. Thanks again for joining me. We'll catch you next time. You guys have a good day and bless your heart in the good way. Bye.